All right, so get ready because today we are diving deep, deep into time travel.
Time travel.
Yeah, we've got some excerpts here from SciAE,
Okay.
and it's all about could we actually journey through the fourth dimension, right?
Right.
I mean, time travel has captivated us, obviously, forever. I
Yeah.
mean, Back to the Future, Interstellar,
Yeah, for sure.
but could it ever really move from science fiction
Right.
to actual science fact?
Well, and that's the interesting thing is this isn't just a Hollywood fantasy.
Right.
Scientists have been wrestling with this concept for, well, since Einstein, right? His theory of relativity really kind of changed everything about how we even think about what time is.
Okay, so let's start there.
Good.
I mean, we experience time as this constant flow. You
Yeah.
know, it's always moving forward.
It keeps going.
But it sounds like our source is suggesting that there may be a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, I mean, Einstein really showed us that time isn't this absolute thing.
Mm,
It's not unchanging. It's actually woven together with space. And so we call that space-time.
space-time.
Yeah, and so here's where it gets really, really interesting. Because time can actually get stretched and warped by things like gravity
Okay.
and velocity, speed.
Hold on. So if time can be warped, does that mean we're not all experiencing it at the same rate? I always just thought, time is time, right? It's constant.
Yeah, that's what makes relativity so mind-bending because it turns out
Yeah.
that the rate at which time passes for you can be different than for me,
Right.
depending on how fast you're moving
Wow.
or how strong the gravitational field is around you.
So, are there places in the universe where time is literally, faster or slower
Yeah, in a
than
way,
other places?
it's called time dilation.
Right.
And it's a direct consequence of all of this, of Einstein's theories. And one of the most famous examples is something called the twin paradox.
Okay.
So imagine you have two twins, and one blasts off into space at close to the speed of light, while the other one stays here on Earth.
Right.
When that spacefaring twin gets back,
Uh-huh.
they'll have aged less than the twin who stayed here.
Wow. So the twin that went to space would have essentially traveled into the future
Exactly.
relative to their sibling.
Yeah, so it sounds like sci-fi, but it's a real phenomenon.
So it really is real.
And it's not just theoretical. Time dilation's been experimentally confirmed with, like particles and,
Right.
even GPS satellites that we use every single day
Yeah.
have to account for these tiny, tiny time differences
Oh, wow.
caused by relativity to even function properly.
Wait, so my phone is using time dilation to figure out where I am?
It is.
That's insane. That is so wild.
Yeah.
Never even thought about it like that.
It is remarkable, isn't it? I mean,
Okay.
it really highlights just how strange the universe is, how counterintuitive it is.
Okay.
But, what if we wanted to do more than just nudge ahead in time a little bit?
Right.
What if we wanted to go back
Yeah.
to the past?
Going back seems a lot trickier, right?
Yeah.
Than just speeding up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Our source mentions these things called wormholes as a potential pathway.
Uh-huh.
Are those even real?
I mean, so wormholes, theoretically,
Yeah.
are tunnels through space-time.
Okay.
And they're these shortcuts
Mhm.
that could connect two really, really distant points in both space and time.
Okay.
So pick space-time is a sheet of paper, right?
Okay.
A wormhole would be like folding that paper
Hmm.
so that those two distant points touch, and then you can instantly travel between them.
So you could step through a wormhole
Yeah.
and come out not only light years away, but also in a totally different time.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
That is so crazy.
Yeah. It's a very enticing idea,
Yeah.
but they're huge hurdles.
Yeah.
According to physics as we know it, wormholes would be incredibly unstable.
Okay.
They would collapse almost instantly.
Oh, wow.
They'd be more like little cracks in reality than stable tunnels that you could just walk through.
So it's not as simple as just hopping into a time machine and punching in a date.
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
Although that would be very cool.
Yeah.
But, I mean, some theories suggest that to stabilize a wormhole, you would need something called exotic matter, which is a hypothetical type of matter
Okay.
with negative energy.
Negative energy.
Negative energy.
Isn't all energy positive?
It's a really weird concept.
Yeah.
It stretches the boundaries of what we know.
Right.
Think about it this way. Normal matter has positive energy,
Uh-huh.
positive mass.
Yeah.
It's what makes up all the stuff we see and touch and interact with.
Right.
Exotic matter, if it exists,
Yeah.
would have negative energy and negative mass.
Yeah.
So it would behave in ways that we don't see every day.
Okay, so we're talking Star Trek stuff here.
Yeah, I mean, it is very speculative.
Yeah.
But the possibility of exotic matter is really intriguing, not just for wormholes,
Right.
but for other areas of physics. Imagine, like, a substance that repels gravity instead of being attracted to it.
Right.
That would be pretty wild.
It really would be.
I mean, it would revolutionize everything,
Yeah.
but, we shouldn't get ahead of ourselves.
Right.
Even if exotic matter exists, actually harnessing it to stabilize a wormhole would be
Yeah.
a whole other challenge.
Right. Okay, so let's just pretend for a second.
Okay.
We figure out wormholes or some other way to manipulate time, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't messing with the past
Yeah.
create all kinds of problems?
Oh, yeah.
We're talking time travel paradoxes, right?
Yeah, you're right to be concerned.
Yeah.
Paradoxes are like one of the most mind-bending things about time travel,
Yeah.
especially when you're thinking about going to the past.
Yeah, like the one where you go back
Uh-huh.
and you accidentally kill your own grandfather.
Exactly, the grandfather paradox.
Right.
It illustrates those contradictions that come up when you even think about changing the past. So if you prevented your grandparents from meeting,
Yeah.
you wouldn't even exist to go back and do that in the first place.
Right, makes no sense.
Yeah, it creates this causal loop that just seems to defy all logic.
So does that mean that going back in time is just impossible? Or is there a way around that?
That's the question.
Yeah.
That's the question that has baffled, physicists and philosophers for a long time.
Right.
Some argue that this kind of paradox just proves that you can't go back in time.
Yeah.
It would violate, like, a core principle of how the universe works, causality, like cause and effect.
Right.
But there are other theories
Okay.
that try to resolve this.
Okay.
So one possibility is this idea of parallel timelines or alternate universes.
Okay.
So imagine every time a decision's made,
Yeah.
reality kind of splits off into a new timeline.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you went back in time
Mm-hmm.
and you changed something,
Yeah.
you might not be changing your own timeline.
Right.
You're actually making a new one.
Okay, so you'd be creating a whole new version of history.
Yeah, a whole new branch of reality.
That's a pretty wild concept.
It is wild, and it's not just sci-fi either.
Yeah.
The concept of a multiverse, which is what that is, that comes from some interpretations of quantum mechanics,
Oh, okay.
which governs the behavior of matter at the tiniest level,
Okay.
the subatomic level.
My head is spinning.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, we went from warping space-time to potentially creating new universes.
It's a lot.
It seems like the deeper we go with this,
Yeah.
the stranger it gets.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
I mean, time travel, it's not just a puzzle to solve.
Right.
It's a doorway to the biggest mysteries of the universe,
Yeah.
the nature of reality itself.
Yeah.
We have to ask these really big questions.
Right.
Cause and effect.
Yeah.
What even is the flow of time?
Yeah.
What is the fabric of existence?
Yeah.
And we may not have all the answers yet,
Right.
but exploring these questions can really change how we see ourselves and our place in all of this.
Yeah, it's a journey that's taking us from physics to philosophy
Right.
and even
There's
beyond.
metaphysics, yeah.
But speaking of journeys, I mean, we've only just scratched the surface.
We really have.
There's still so much more to explore.
There is, yeah. We've talked about the physics of time dilation and wormholes,
Uh-huh.
the potential for paradoxes,
Right.
this idea of multiple timelines.
Yeah.
But there's one thing we haven't talked about yet.
Okay.
Something that's often overlooked.
Okay.
But it might be the key to really understanding all of this.
Oh, okay. What's that?
The human element.
Ah, okay.
The way that we experience time
Right.
and how that can change how we think about time travel.
Okay. I am intrigued. Tell me more.
Welcome back to our deep dive into time travel.
Okay, so before we get into the human element of all this,
Yeah.
we were talking about, like, the mind-bending physics of time dilation and wormholes, and even this concept of multiple timelines.
Right. A lot to wrap your head around.
It really is.
But even if we could, manipulate space-time or create these wormholes, could our consciousness even keep up?
Right. It seems like we've been so focused on the external, like the mechanics of the universe.
Yeah.
But what about our internal experience of time?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we perceive time as this linear thing, right?
Yep.
Past, present, future.
Yeah.
But what if that's just how our brains make sense of it?
Right.
What if reality is actually a lot more complex?
So are you saying that our linear experience of time could actually be, like, limiting our understanding of what time travel could be?
It's totally possible. I mean, what if time isn't a straight line at all?
Okay.
What if it's more like, I don't know, a landscape?
Yeah.
A timescape?
Or a timescape.
Yeah, and we could jump to different points without physically moving through time the way we normally think about it.
Okay, so like instead of traveling on a road,
Yeah.
we could jump between different points on a map. Okay, but how could we even do that?
Well, what if the key isn't technology, like machines or anything like that?
Right.
What if it's about consciousness?
Consciousness.
Yeah, like think about dreams, right?
Yeah.
We can experience vivid things from the past
Mm-hmm.
or things that feel like the future,
Yeah.
all in our minds.
But dreams aren't real, are they?
Well, I mean, that depends on what you mean by real.
Okay.
I mean, our perception of reality, what we think is real, it's shaped by our senses, our memories, our experiences.
Yeah. Right.
What if those boundaries between what's in our heads
Yeah.
and what's happening out there in the world with time?
Right.
What if those boundaries are actually more fluid than we think?
So you're suggesting that changing our consciousness,
Huh?
our perception of time,
Yeah.
could actually be a form of time travel.
I mean, it's a radical idea, right?
It is.
But it's something that ancient traditions have talked about for a long time.
Really?
Yeah, like cultures around the world have used meditation, shamanic journeys,
Yeah.
lucid dreaming, to
Right.
try to access different times without physically moving.
It makes you wonder if there are like levels of reality or layers of time that
Yeah.
we just can't perceive normally.
It's a cool thought.
Yeah. Could time travel be less about building machines and more about like expanding our consciousness?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's something that science is just starting to look at.
Okay.
There's a whole new field of research
Uh-huh.
that's looking at the connection between consciousness and quantum mechanics and time.
Wow.
And some physicists even think that consciousness could actually shape reality.
Okay, now that's deep.
It is, right?
But does make you think, like,
Yeah.
if consciousness is connected to the fabric of reality somehow,
Yeah.
could mastering our minds unlock abilities that we think are sci-fi right now?
I mean, it's possible, right?
Yeah.
Imagine being able to not just access memories, but to actually re-experience them.
Yeah.
Or to project yourself into the future
Right.
and get glimpses of what might happen.
That would be wild.
It'd be a whole new kind of time travel.
It sounds amazing, but also kind of terrifying.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, what about ethics?
right.
If you could manipulate consciousness like that,
Uh-huh.
could it be dangerous?
Those are such important questions.
Yeah.
And we absolutely have to address those as we explore all this.
Right.
But we also can't forget the potential good that could come from this.
Yeah.
Imagine being able to relive amazing moments from your past
Right.
or to learn from future mistakes.
Yeah.
I mean, it could totally change how we see ourselves and our place in the universe.
It's a lot to process.
It is.
But it's wild to think that maybe the key to time travel is inside us,
Yeah.
not out there somewhere in space.
It's a really humbling thought, and it really emphasizes how connected everything is.
Yeah.
From the smallest particles to the vastness of space
Yeah.
and our own minds.
Okay, so we've explored all this mind-bending physics,
Yeah.
the paradoxes, the different possibilities, even consciousness.
Right.
But there's one last thing we haven't really talked about.
Oh, yeah, we have to bring it back to that text you mentioned in the beginning.
Right.
The one called COMP.
Exactly. We got so caught up in all these ideas,
Mm-hmm.
we kind of forgot about the source material that got us here in the first place.
It happens.
What does this text have to say about our journey through time?
Well, that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
It brings a unique perspective to all this.
Yeah.
It kind of blends ancient wisdom with modern science.
Okay.
And it suggests that time travel might not be about conquering time,
Uh-huh.
but about harmonizing with it.
Harmonizing with time.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that time isn't just this external force
Right.
that controls our lives.
Right.
It's something that we are actively a part of
Okay.
and that we help create.
Okay.
The text says that by changing how we see time, by
Yeah.
really understanding it, we can unlock these hidden potentials
Okay.
and experience a more fulfilling reality.
So it's not about escaping time.
No,
It's about embracing it.
exactly.
Okay.
The text actually offers practices and insights
Yeah.
to help us be more aware of time
Right.
and to see it not as this linear restriction,
Mm.
but as a flowing tapestry of moments.
It sounds like a way to be more mindful,
Yeah.
more intentional.
Uh-huh.
But how does this relate to time travel specifically?
Well, that's the cool part.
Okay.
The text says that by mastering our relationship with time,
Mm-hmm.
by getting to know its deeper nature,
Yeah.
we might be able to unlock abilities that seem like time travel.
Like what?
Like remembering things from the past with incredible clarity.
Okay.
Or even influencing things in the future
Wow.
using the power of our intentions.
That's a beautiful idea.
It is, right?
So instead of trying to control time, we learn to go with it.
Yeah, to dance with it.
But before we get too philosophical here, let's bring it back down to earth for a minute.
Yeah, good idea.
I mean, we started this whole thing by asking if time travel could ever be real.
We did.
We've talked about all these theories and paradoxes and possibilities
Right.
and consciousness.
Right.
But is there any real evidence?
Yeah.
Any research that suggests time travel could actually happen?
That is the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
We've been on quite a journey.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about things that are like on the edge of science and speculation.
For sure.
But are there scientists out there actually trying to make time travel real?
Well, time travel research isn't exactly mainstream science.
Right.
But there are a few researchers out there who are really pushing the limits of what we know
Okay.
and trying to figure out if we can manipulate time.
So there are people out there trying to build time machines.
Well, it's not exactly like building a machine with gears and wires.
Right.
It's more about understanding time at a fundamental level
Okay.
and figuring out if we can influence how it flows.
So it's less about traveling through time
Mhm.
and more about like manipulating it.
Yeah, exactly.
I-
So one area of research is actually using lasers.
Lasers.
Yeah, powerful lasers.
How could lasers affect something like space-time?
It's all about energy.
Okay.
Einstein's theory of relativity says that energy and mass warp space-time,
Right.
and that creates gravity.
Oh, cool.
So by focusing these super intense lasers,
Mm-hmm.
scientists can create these little areas where the energy is so dense
Yeah.
that it might actually distort space-time.
So they're creating tiny gravity wells with lasers.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's insane.
It is pretty mind-blowing, but how does that connect to time travel?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Well, remember time dilation.
Mm-hmm.
The stronger the gravity,
Yeah.
the slower time goes.
Right.
So if scientists could make a strong enough gravity field with these lasers
Mm-hmm.
and control it really well,
Yeah.
they might actually be able to manipulate how fast time goes in that area.
So not actually traveling through time,
Right.
but creating these little pockets where time is different.
Exactly. Like, imagine a room where time moves half as fast as the outside world.
Wow.
So things in that room would age slower.
Right.
It's not time travel in the traditional sense,
Yeah.
but it's still manipulating time.
It really is. That's fascinating.
It is, and it's super challenging.
Yeah.
But there are other avenues of research, too.
Okay, like what?
Well, there's this thing called quantum entanglement.
Right. We talked about that a little bit before
Yeah.
with the multiple timelines idea.
Exactly.
How could that be used to mess with time?
Some scientists think that if you could manipulate these entangled particles,
Uh-huh.
you could actually influence things in the past or the future.
Wait, so you could send a signal through time?
Yeah, not by going faster than light,
Right.
but by using that connection between those particles.
It sounds like science fiction.
It does, but it's something that scientists are seriously considering.
Wow, are there any, like, ethical concerns with this kind of research?
Oh, absolutely. Anytime you're dealing with powerful technology like this,
Yeah.
there's always the risk of misuse
Wow.
or unintended consequences.
Well, right, we might not understand the ripple effects.
Exactly,
Yeah.
which is why it's so important to think about the ethics
Yeah.
from the very beginning.
Okay, so it's a reminder that the pursuit of knowledge, especially in something as profound as time travel,
Yeah,
it comes with a big responsibility.
it does.
But let's not forget the potential good that could come from this.
Right, exactly.
Imagine being able to slow down aging
Yeah,
or or up healing or
Mhm.
even reverse diseases.
it would be incredible.
It really would. It's a pretty amazing vision of the future
It is
where time itself becomes a tool to help
Cool.
people.
a tool for good.
But as we've seen, this whole deep dive into time travel, it's led us down some pretty exhilarating and bewildering paths.
For sure. It's a journey that really challenges our understanding of reality.
Yeah.
It pushes the limits of science,
Mm-hmm.
and it forces us to ask some big questions about time and consciousness
Right.
and our place in the universe.
And the journey itself has been pretty rewarding.
It really has.
But we've been so focused on the science and the philosophy
Yeah.
that we haven't really talked about the people involved in all this.
Right.
What about the people who are actually trying to figure this stuff out?
The human side of the story.
Yeah. What motivates them?
Yeah.
Their hopes and dreams for the future.
Ah, yes. The human element, the dreamers,
Yeah.
the explorers who are really pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
That's where we'll go next.
Welcome back to our deep dive into time travel.
Time travel.
So we've gone through a lot. The physics, the paradoxes,
Right.
the philosophy, consciousness, the whole thing.
A whole shebang.
But what about the people behind it all?
Yeah.
The ones who are actually trying to crack the code of time?
It is an interesting question, isn't it? What kind of person devotes their life to something like time travel? I mean, they're like explorers of the unknown.
Right, exactly.
Driven by this, like thirst for knowledge.
Yeah.
They want to push the boundaries.
It's got to take a certain personality, right?
It does.
Are we talking about, like, eccentric geniuses working in secret labs?
It's actually more diverse than you might think.
Really?
Yeah. Physicists, mathematicians, philosophers,
Okay.
even artists and writers.
Interesting.
They're all drawn to this mystery.
So it's not just about the equations.
No, not at all.
It's about imagination.
Yeah.
A passion for the unknown.
Exactly. To really wrap your head around time travel,
Yeah.
you have to think outside the box.
Right.
Imagine the impossible.
Yeah.
Embrace the uncertainty.
I'd love to hear about some of the people at the forefront of all this.
Yeah.
Anyone in particular come to mind?
Well, there are many, but one that stands out is Dr. Ronald Mallet.
Oh, yeah.
He's a theoretical physicist
Oh,
who's devoted his life to figuring out time travel.
wow.
His story is really inspiring.
What is it?
Well, his fascination with it began when he was young,
Okay.
after he lost his father,
Oh, wow.
when he was just 10 years old.
I'm so sorry.
And he became obsessed with this idea of going back in time
Yeah.
to prevent his father's death.
Wow.
And that dream has really fueled his research ever since.
That's incredible.
That is, isn't it? It shows how personal motivations
Yeah.
can drive scientific exploration.
Absolutely.
He's not just solving equations, he's driven by this deep emotional connection to time travel.
Yeah.
And his work has been really influential.
Right.
He's explored using lasers, rotating lasers,
Okay.
to create these things called closed time-like curves.
Those time-like curves.
Yeah, it's a theoretical framework
Okay.
that could maybe, potentially, allow for time travel to the past.
Wow. That's amazing.
It really is.
Turning personal tragedy into scientific progress.
It is.
Are there other people taking a similar approach?
There are, yeah.
Okay.
Another one is Dr. Kip Thorne.
Kip Thorne, I've heard that name.
Yeah, he's a really famous theoretical physicist.
Mhm.
He was actually really important in developing the LIGO project.
LIGO, that's the one that detected gravitational waves.
That's the one.
Wow.
His work has been huge for understanding the universe.
Yeah.
Black holes, wormholes, space-time.
Right, and he was involved with the movie Interstellar, right?
He was.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a scientific consultant.
Okay.
He wanted to make sure that the science in the movie was accurate.
That's so cool. So science fiction and real science can really feed off each other.
They do, and it's inspiring.
Yeah.
It inspires a whole new generation of scientists.
It really does.
Yeah, it shows that the quest for time travel,
Yeah.
it's not just about physics, it's about human ingenuity.
It's about imagination.
Exactly. That's what makes it so captivating.
Yeah, it's a blend of science and philosophy.
Yeah.
And the human spirit of exploration.
And even if we never actually build a time machine,
Right.
the pursuit of this dream has taught us so much
Yeah.
about the universe and about ourselves.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
So we've come full circle.
We have.
From wormholes and time dilation
Mhm.
to the personal stories of the people pushing the boundaries.
It's been quite a journey.
It really has.
A deep dive into a topic that just keeps on giving.
It does.
Yeah. But as we wrap up,
Yeah.
I think it's important to remember
Okay.
that this quest for time travel,
Yeah.
it's really a quest for understanding.
Understanding.
Understanding the universe.
Yeah.
Understanding ourselves and how it's all connected.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
And even if we never actually build a time machine,
Yeah.
exploring these possibilities has been incredibly valuable.
It really has. It's enriched our understanding of the cosmos
Absolutely.
and the human spirit.
Well said.
And who knows, maybe one day we'll discover that the greatest time machine is within us all along.
Oh, I like that.
Our consciousness, our imagination,
Yeah.
our thirst for knowledge and wonder.
That's a great place to leave it.
It is, yeah.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive
Yeah, thanks for having me.
into the world of time travel.
It's been fun.
It really has. It's a topic that I think will always capture our imaginations.
I think so, too.
And who knows, maybe someday time travel won't be science fiction anymore,
Maybe.
but a reality we can all experience.
That would be something.
It really would.
Yeah.
But until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep dreaming about what lies beyond the boundaries of time.
Couldn't have hit it better myself.